Happy Thursday. We've almost made it to the end of the week. I'm enjoying my week off without working from home. My third guest is coming all the way from America. It's Mr. Zach Lowy. How are you, Zach?
I'm doing very well, Scott. Thank you so much for having me on. Pleasure to come on the show, and we've got a lot to talk about, so super excited.
Yeah, we did have some technical issues for about 20 minutes beforehand. And it's been a bit of pain in the backside, so yeah, bear with us. I'm using something new, not StreamYard, which tend to say the connection was a bit slow last time, and we had some technical issues beforehand. So Zach, thank you very much for joining me, and a happy Thursday, and almost a happy end to probably a prolonged football season, which is, like most of us, I think. Are you happy that the football season is almost over?
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite over because we've got the main course, shall we say, to
Yeah.
follow. But yeah, I am. I mean, I am gonna miss, tuning in to, all these great different fixtures. But I do think that everybody has gotten kind of football fatigued. So, it is nice to take a breather. I mean, obviously the transfer window is kind of a season within itself, right? But for the most part, I am happy that we're winding down. Been some incredible title races and some great storylines this season. Definitely a season that'll live on in memory, I think.
Yeah, it's been a strange season as we're 13, 14 months into a global pandemic. There's hardly been any crowds in football games. The last game I went to with a crowd was the 7th of March 2020, and that's a good 14 months ago. It's going to be a season that I think all of us will remember, because as you said, we've had so many good title run-ins in Europe. Like in Italy, we just had Inter Milan win the Scudetto, first one in 11 years, ever since the last time since Jose Mourinho was in Italy. And we've got Jose Mourinho coming to the club I support in Italy, AS Roma. And Tuesday night we had Sporting Club de Portugal win the Portuguese Liga NOS for the first time in 19 years. And that was coming 3 years to the day that the trouble at the training ground, with the fans attacking the players, and the stuff they've had to go off behind the scenes and all that's good. And also we got Lille almost going to win Liga, so we've got some fun title races. But Man City winning the Premier League and the Champions League final with Manchester City and Chelsea could be fun. And we've got Villarreal, Manchester United to come in a couple of weeks. It's all going to be coming. And also your Barcelona side, could they get La Liga? Because no one seems to want to win it at the moment. There's like Atletico, Real Madrid, and Barcelona as the outsiders. It could be a fun next couple of weeks. My first question was, how old were you when you first got into football?
How old was I when I first got into football?
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that, growing up early on, football or soccer, depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on, was not my favorite sport. I
Okay.
preferred more sports like NFL and NBA. And I definitely was more into, playing football at a younger age than like actually watching it. So that's mainly how I got into football, by playing it, by playing FIFA, and just kind of getting into the whole circle of it. But yeah, I would say I got into it pretty intensely around the time I was in high school. So yeah, around that time, and never really looked back. It's such a fun sport to keep track of, and yeah, I love it.
It gets your hopes up and then it gets your hopes down. It's like the life of being a football fan. It's up and down like a roller coaster. You have so much highs and emotions of
Yeah.
being a fan, of watching your team win leagues, win trophies, like domestically and in European, and then you get to see the very lows of seeing your team get relegated and lose finals, and you get the heartbreak. Did you have any heroes in football when you first got into the sport?
I mean, if I had to pick some heroes, well, actually, the first jersey that I got with a person's name on it was Mike Owen, back in like the Inter side that
Mm.
won Rebel. Yeah, it was a Mike Owen, so I liked him a lot. I like Dani Alves a lot too. Definitely one of my favorites to play the game. Ronaldinho is probably the player who's most responsible for getting me into football. Just because I wasn't really paying attention to football before until I started like watching his videos and watching his plays. That definitely, made me a worshiper of the beautiful game. I think Ronaldinho, and apart from him, I would also put in obviously Lionel Messi and Andres Iniesta, two players who have always thrilled me and who I've always just absolutely loved watching them play football. And I would also say Andrea Pirlo. Pirlo is a player who, I loved watching, and who was just so graceful on the ball, so calm and precise at what he did. And yeah, I'll always love Pirlo. Yeah.
I got to see Pirlo 7 years ago play live. It was Roma Juventus. The actual anniversary was on Tuesday, and it was my first time at the Stadio Olimpico. First time seeing Roma live, and it was Roma Juve. It was Conte's I think it was third and final season at the club. Pirlo ran the game in midfield for Juventus. It was the second to last game of the season. It's just majestic to watch. They managed to win 1-0, and Dani Osvaldo, ex-Roma, scored on the last minute. But watching Pirlo live is just fantastic. He's such an elegant, graceful player. Not as great as a coach as we're finding out now this season. But yeah, you've picked up some majestic footballers.
I did get to watch Pirlo live in one New York City FC game, actually. He wasn't that good back then, but still pretty cool to watch him live from.
Yeah. You can see his reign in America probably wasn't the best. Didn't come up to the elegance and the gracefulness of his career that he had previously in Italy with both Juventus and AC Milan. Do you remember the first actual game of football or determining US soccer you actually went to?
The first like football game that I went to,
Yeah.
it's definitely got to be a DC United game. I actually remember watching DC United take on Beckham right when he had just arrived in LA.
Okay.
I remember watching those two teams play, and that must have been like 2007 maybe. So that may have seen one before, but yeah, I would probably say that. I mean, I had obviously watched a lot of Beckham. I watched a lot of Beckham, but other players who came to MLS, and getting to see them live was pretty cool. But yeah, probably a DC United game. I think the first foreign match that I ever got to watch was, I think it was actually Barcelona's home opener against Real Sociedad in like 2012, I think. I remember Messi scored an incredible free kick, and yeah, I think it was, pretty sure it was against Real Sociedad because I remember watching Griezmann. So yeah, I think that was my first time seeing a foreign game, so that was obviously pretty cool. And yeah,
How did you find the new camp? Because it's an amazing stadium. It's, oh my god! I did a
yeah.
stadium tour when I was 7, so that was I think it was summer in '96, and it's, oh my god, it's a majestic stadium. How did you find the new camp?
Yeah, I remember just being like, just I remember just being pretty like crazy about it. Like I remember going up to the top and just like looking at how like dense it was and how big it was. It was pretty insane. And yeah, I've had the privilege of going to each of the big three stadiums in Spain, or from the big three teams. And yeah, I think that might be my favorite. I don't know. I love the Bernabeu as well as the um, the the new Atletico Stadium. I'm drawing a
One,
blank. The Wanda
Wanda
Metropolitano.
Metropolitano, yeah.
Metropolitano. Because I actually lived in Madrid for a time, so one of my running routes, where I would just like run, it actually was passing the Estadio Vicente Calderon, which was like being demolished at that time. So it was it was cool, but also kind of sad to see such a historic, like running by a historic stadium that was like in tatters, you know. But no, I mean, I really liked the Metropolitano as well. It was definitely, I could tell they tried to move it to a different location, to make it more centralized, because the it's not really like in the Bernabeu. It's kind of in the middle of Madrid, whereas it takes a bit more time for the average Madrid person, I think, to get there, to get to the Metropolitano. But yeah, I would say out of those three, out of the Spanish big three, I would probably say Camp Nou is my favorite. But I mean, there have been some other great ones I've gotten to go to. I went to, actually, one of my favorite experiences in terms of stadiums has probably been Benfica's, because it was just so incredible, the atmosphere. And I think it was just a cup match against Rio Ave, if I'm not mistaken. But yet and it was like the first round of the Taça de Portugal, but the atmosphere was just incredible. Like, it was pretty packed. One thing that was great about it was the tickets were super cheap, and because I was at like the 6th row, and they were like, you would never find that in an English game, or a
No.
Spanish game. It was like ridiculously cheap, and you had the eagle flying right there, and that was definitely just a crazy experience, just in terms of the atmosphere. So I love that Benfica game, and trying to think what other games I've seen. I remember actually seeing Barcelona play Leicester in a friendly. I think that was in Sweden, actually. I remember Ahmed Musa and Munir both scoring like braces, and like two of the guys you'd least expect to score, especially Musa, who's just kind of like, I think a lot of people forget he even was a Premier League player at some point, But yeah, I did get to check that out, and the stadium in Stockholm was just like massive and pretty incredible. Definitely one of my favorite stadiums that I've checked out.
My next question is: have you ever been to many grounds, or if you've been to any of the big grounds here in the UK?
I don't think I have, actually. I really want to. I really want to just go and tour a bunch of like incredible stadiums, like Anfield, like I don't know, the King Power, and I don't know, Old Trafford, I guess, is the most historic, but it's also like not the best in terms of infrastructure.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, but it would still be nice to go just check out. But yeah, I haven't gone to any in the UK, but I mean, I've been to the major three in Spain, and I think apart from that, I don't think I've been to any others. I actually did go to a PSG game.
Yeah, I remember. I think we talked about this
Right.
on social media a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, I went to a PSG game against Mets, I believe. I think it was the year Mets got relegated. I remember because I went outside the stadium where they were selling shirts, and I got an Mbappe shirt. It was the only season where he wore the 29, I think. So yeah, I still have that Mbappe 29 jersey, and I think that's like I wish he kept the 29. I mean, I know he likes his. You want to have the more traditional number, but like, I don't know. I feel like 29 was perfect for him. But yeah, I saw him, and players like I remember Nkunku actually having an incredible game. Christoph Nkunku just absolutely destroying Mets, like having just an insane game. He actually, I think, impressed me the most. I think Neymar had just been injured for the season, so I'm not sure if he'd play. But obviously, I remember Mbappe. I think Di Maria was involved as well as Cavani. But yeah, I remember just Nkunku just blowing me away, honestly, from start to finish.
And now Nkuku's playing in Germany for Red Bull Leipzig
Yeah,
and doing
exactly.
pretty well for
Doing
now
very
as
well
well.
for himself,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was going to say about you did say about ticket prices over here in the UK.
Yeah.
They're quite extortionate. It's like I'm going to be watching League Two football next season because my side got relegated. My side got relegated, and
Right.
when we get back into stadiums, like ticket prices over here in the UK are quite bad. It's like on regular, you're paying up to like between 15 and 25 quid to watch
Yeah.
football league and in the Premier League. I think I got a ticket to watch Swansea Leicester in 2015. That was I
Mhm.
went to the game where Riyad Mahrez scored the hat trick at the Swansea Stadium, and I went with a friend because Swindon weren't playing, so I think we got them for like 35 quid behind the goal in Swansea. That was pretty good, but yeah, ticket prices over here in the UK are quite bad. I did managed to get tickets to watch I've been to Rome 9 times to watch Rome, and the tickets to watch Rome are pretty good, and
Yeah.
they're quite decent. I think the most expensive I paid was let me think, it was €85, and that was Roma Real Madrid in 2016 for the Champions League. Round of 16 in 2016, where Real Madrid won both legs 2-0, and it was Spalletti's first couple months back after his second tenure. So
Mhm.
yeah, so ticket prices are not great here in the UK. When you come over, you will find out. But the
Right.
atmosphere at games over here in the UK are brilliant, and it's just
Yeah.
ticket prices and just get into games. If you travel away watching your side, you're spending 80 quid on a Saturday, where tickets, train tickets, food, drink, alcohol as well included, you're spending up to between 75 and 100 quid. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's mental.
I went to a few World Cup games in Russia, and even that, like, the prices weren't even that bad. So it's just, it's just insane, how like how incredible it's gotten.
How much did you pay for the tickets for the World Cup in Russia, if you don't mind me
Um,
asking?
Trying to think. I would say it was actually probably not too bad. I think it was like maybe around the 200 range or 300. It wasn't, cheap, but actually, come to think of it, I think the craziest match I've ever been to was the Super Clasico final in Madrid.
Yes.
Boca River, absolutely the craziest match I will ever attend. Yeah, that was pretty incredible. I forgot to mention that. But I think that was even crazier than like any World Cup or Copa America match I've been to, honestly.
Some backstory on that. If you are a
Yeah.
fan of Copper 90, watch the excellent documentary about Derby Days, about Boca and River. That will blow your mind. And you got to see the final second leg, which was supposed to play in Buenos Aires, but then a couple of weeks later got played in Madrid, and then River played. What was it, 3-1 in the end after Dario
Yeah,
Di
I think it was
Benedetto scored?
right. I think Barrios got sent off after
Yeah,
extra time, which was a shame because he was actually one of the Boca's better players. Yeah, it was funny because like I actually wasn't even planning on going to the stadium. Um, I was I had like two exams the next day and like or no, I think I had two essays due the next day and then two exams the day after. So I was like, should I study? Like, should I, stay home? And I was like, what, screw it. So I took the train to the Santiago Bernabeu, and just like wadding through like all these people. Obviously they had it. The police had it separated. Had the Boca fans in one corner, River fans in the other. Trying to keep it heterogeneous, right? Shall we say? And so yeah, I was like, okay, well, it's cool to check out this. I might as well hop into this restaurant to get a overpriced bocadillo. So I was gnawing on my the Spanish bocadillo with like egg and stuff, that typical one. And these like three dudes walk in. They traveled like from halfway across the country to get here, but their friend could not show up because he was like busy with work or something. So they asked me like, do you want to buy the ticket, that he left over. So, I was like, whoa, how much is it? It was like, I think it was 150 maybe, or
That's not too
200.
bad.
And because like the cheapest tickets that were being sold were for like 320 or something. Like I had checked it out because I was interested in buying it, but it was like 300 something. So this was like half price, and I was super convinced that like there was a chance they were gonna rip me off and like give me something fake. But yeah, so I just like withdrew, and then I like they sent it to me on WhatsApp, and like as I'm going through security, I'm like, there's the voice in the back of my head. It's like, this is gonna be fake, right? The security guard's gonna stop me and say, you got a fake ticket, you got conned. I'm sorry, buddy. And I'm just like going through it. Like eventually I get there. I'm like, what? I'm actually here. Like I was supposed to be back home studying, and like I'm here watching the Copa Libertadores final, like the last two-legged final in Copa Libertadores history. So yeah, it was a pretty crazy story, shall we say?
And the game went 120 minutes, and River won. If my mind, 3-1 on the night, wasn't it?
I think it was. I believe that. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know that I'm pretty sure that Boca. I think that Boca got a goal via
Benedetto, and he did that.
I think it may have been. I think Quintero also scored, or that may have been yeah, I'm pretty sure Quintero scored. I'm trying to think who else. I know that Barrios got sent off, and
I want to say Gonzalo Martinez.
I think there was a goal from him as well. I'm trying to think who else. Lucas Prato, maybe. Yeah, I think that was it. But yeah, it was a crazy night, shall we say? A night that will, just live on for forever for me.
Especially in an iconic stadium as the Bernabeu. You went to a Champions League game a couple of months beforehand, didn't you? You watched was it Real Madrid Roma?
Actually, yeah, I did watch Real Madrid Roma. I think that was. I'm pretty sure Isco opened the scoring with an insane free kick, and then I think Mariano got another goal, but
it was 3-0.
I think that was the. Well, that must have been. Yeah, I think that was coming off the of course the Roma Barcelona. So actually, so when I was in the stands for that game, the Real Madrid Roma match, when Kostas Manolas' name came up, there was a huge wave and like massive cheers from like the entire Madrid fans, like more than literally any other Madrid player actually. Because remember, this was right after Ronaldo left. But yeah, I think it was just hilarious because it was like Manolas getting so much so much applause from the Madrid fans. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And then he trolled Barcelona players in a preseason friendly 2 years ago. Right. Yeah, trolled Luis Suarez. I want to talk about your website, Breaking the Lines. Right. How did that come across? How did the Breaking the Lines website come across?
Right. So Breaking the Lines. So it came across. Well, first off, it was I think right after my first semester of college, and basically a guy named Thomas Anderson noticed my threads and really wanted to kind of make the threads into a site, Breaking the Lines. So yeah, that's what we decided to do. And I mean, he asked me, are you interested in creating a website with this? And I said, yeah. So yeah, we decided to do it. I came up with the name Breaking the Lines. And yeah, we've just really gone from there, just trying to consistently, improve and consistently trying to, set the standard for football journalism. So I'm really happy with where we've gone, and we've still got a lot more that we need to get to, but right now I'm really happy with how we're headed right now.
I used to like you used to slide into my DMs and used to send me compilation videos of any Roma player that you were
Right.
going to produce on the website. There was it Allison? And
We used to have a ton of great great videos on the site, but unfortunately we've had to stop because
the
copyright
MCA,
has
yeah.
gotten pretty, stingy with that. But I definitely miss that. And so, but you've got to adapt. And so, but yeah. So you, anyways. I mean, there was. I remembered making so many comps though back in the day when it was cool to post videos. I remember staying up until like 3 a.m. The night of my birthday just to make a Messi versus Sevilla comp. It was like you just had the craziest game ever. So yeah, I was making compilations. I remember actually like sprinting like from my from my class to my dorm, like sprinting like a mile from my class to my dorm to get there before my next class, which is in like 10 minutes, to get a charger and then make a Musa Dembele versus, I think it was Juventus, or I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was Juventus compilation. But yeah, some good memories for sure.
Now we can't even post any goals or any
Yeah.
videos on social media because they get taken down.
That's one of the reasons why I think
Yeah.
Twitter is downhill.
Yeah, it used to be cool social media. Used to have good conversations with people and get into good debates. Post videos of football without the leagues knowing about it, but then over the last couple of years, they become very, very stringent on that. It's like I'm an avid fan of Serie A, but you can't post a goal on there, but fans can still racially abuse players when they were in the grounds, and it's just a very hot topic. And it's just like, yeah, that the way that's been handled has just been awful. Where do you see the website going in the next couple of years, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying to, branch out. And I've gotten a lot of offers from like a lot of, I would say, similar-minded companies that prioritize quality over quantity and that want to consistently find new ways, new unique ways to produce football content. So I'm really excited for a few collaborations we've gotten in the mix. And in general, we're just trying to improve. We're trying to, change consistently. How shall I say this? Broaden our horizons. We've been posting a lot of data viz and statistic-based content. I personally am not I'm not the biggest stat expert there is, but I will say that over the past year or so, I've definitely, started to see the value of it more than ever. And, I'm definitely really interested in statistics. So we are trying to do more of that. Absolutely on breaking the lines. And yeah, I mean, I definitely also want to continue our Corta Líneas podcast, which is my weekly podcast that we're doing on breaking lines dedicated to Portuguese football. So I'm really enjoying that and looking to, branch out and produce more podcast content, really more, just constantly trying to produce top quality football content. And I think that's what we're doing right now. So definitely happy with that. And yeah, I think that just, in general, it's been a really good year for us in terms of producing content, and I'm really happy with how the future is looking for us. Definitely stay tuned though for the next few weeks because we've got something really special cooking up in the mix.
I do like that you've got some of the guys dipping into the EFL over here, and they've got some guys talking about players in the Championship that have been really setting the world alight, like Ivan Toney, who's
Right.
technically could have an outside bet to get into the Euro 2020 squad now being played in Euro 2021. I think he's adapted so well to Championship football, and it's just like taking the world alight. Like last season, he was playing in League One. He's been playing in League One for a couple of years with Peterborough, and I really enjoyed the article that you guys put out about Ivan Toney because the world is at his feet, and you can watch this player just evolve into an absolute predator type footballer, like the poacher that he is, because he's top class.
Yeah, thanks for that. No, I mean, definitely. Ivan Toney, what a season he's having at Brentford. Definitely one of the clubs that, definitely does the best job of knowing how to think one step in advance, and constantly replace consistently, sell players at a profit and then replace them. I think Atalanta,
Yeah.
Leicester, and I would also say Leipzig do a good job of that as well. But they're definitely up there, and they deserve a lot more credit than they get. But yeah, they've done a great job, and man, what a season it's been for Toney. I think that a Euro spot is definitely too much of a stretch personally, because there's just so much competition for Euro spots, and as good as Toney has been, I don't think he's been better, or I don't think he is better than Harry Kane, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Mason Greenwood, even Vardy's retired, but you can throw in Danny Ings, and I'm probably missing Abraham. I'm probably missing some, but I don't think he's getting there. But great season for him. Massive credit to what he's done, and yeah, I do hope. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm cheering for Brentford to go up, because I really would love to see Daryl Dike lead Barnsley up to the top flight for the first time in 25 years. So I kind of hope Barnsley get it, but if it's not Barnsley, then yeah, I think Brentford. I'd love to see them. I wanted them to get it over Fulham last season. And I just hope they don't blow it again. But if there's one thing you can say about them, it's they're definitely a sustainable club, in that even if they do get relegated, right, or even if they do, even if they do go up and then get relegated, or even if they miss out on promotion, they're always going to be in a very advantageous position, and that just speaks to how well run of a club they are.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like the last 7, maybe 8 years, they've probably been one of the best run football clubs here in the EFL. They just moved into their lovely new stadium. I do miss the old Griffin Park. That was one of my favourite grounds I've ever been to. It was just it's a proper old school English style football stadium, but the new one that they do have at Brentford is brilliant. I do have your sentiment agreements over Barnsley. Valérien Ismaël was doing such a wonderful job there. I think it's the first time if they do get promoted, I think it's 97. If my mind goes back, it could be 1997 or 1998 was the last time they were in the Premier League. You did branch. Yeah, one season. They're one of 3 clubs that have just had one season in the Premier League. So that's Blackpool, Barnsley, and the club I support here, Swindon Town. They've the only 3 teams that have had one season in the Premier League. I wanted to ask about your podcast, because you did have the Breaking the Lines podcast. Would that have been a bit too much to do, especially with the times that we've had over the last couple of years, that there hasn't been enough of that Breaking the Lines podcast because you're probably branching out to do other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, podcasts, I've always liked. I've been on a lot of podcasts and hosted some, but it's tough to pull off because sometimes you just really can't rely on other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes things pop away. It's not always their fault. Sometimes life just happens, and you just have to go your separate ways. But I think that I've been part of a lot of podcasts, and Cortelinish is definitely the one that I'm most proud of, because we're sticking to a niche that's relatively narrow. You don't, like, for example, you don't really see Portuguese football covered in The Athletic or ESPN. You'll see like the big headlines and whatnot, but not on like a super granular basis, which is what we're trying to do. We're not one of my one of my purposes for this isn't to, not just cover the Sportings and the Benficas, but cover the Rio Aves and the Moreirenses and the Boavistas and the Estorils. We always try to spread the love around because there's really so much action outside of just the big three. And so, yeah, we're really trying to capture onto that niche and just trying to, keep on producing top level Portuguese football content, whether that's written. We've produced a lot of great articles lately, on Andre Silva, Sergio Oliveira, Ryan Gauld, really so many players, either Portuguese or playing in Portugal who are doing well. So yeah, but also just producing the weekly podcast, the Cortelinhas podcast, which I'm super proud of, and I'm really excited to keep it going. And it's just I think that for me it's just more special than like doing a weekly roundup of football. Talking about the Arsenal Chelsea game, and talking about the Atletico going ahead of Barcelona Real Madrid in the title race, right? I mean, I think that's kind of, if you want to do that, that's great. But I think that's kind of like there's enough people doing that. On the other hand, I don't see many people, doing the Portuguese football podcast, which it is what it is. But I think that it makes my, I guess, desire to produce it and do the best job I can with it all the stronger, because I want to help people who don't have the time to watch Portuguese football, who are going to focus on Premier League or La Liga or whatever. There's only 24 hours in a day. They're entirely within their right. But I want to just produce the best possible podcast that I can on Portuguese football, because it is an undertapped market, and it's a market that's definitely, maybe not a market, but kind of a league that's constantly in an ascent, in my opinion. Seeing so many Portuguese managers abroad, Portuguese sporting directors, so on and so on. I've always loved Portuguese football, so for me, it's kind of it was definitely like a match made in heaven, I would say.
I do feel like the coverage of the league has got better. We get it over here in the UK, and we actually get a weekly highlight show now. That's only come into fruition over the last 5 months. But yeah, you do get to see different leagues, and I do condemn what you guys are doing. It's on my podcast list. I will be listening. I listen to too many football podcasts and sports podcasts and TV podcasts. So your podcast is on my Apple Podcast subscription. I wanted to ask a couple more questions.
Yeah.
So how many languages do you speak? Because there's a video of you speaking to a Brazilian right back who, I think he's still at Real Betis, but he's Barcelona owned. Is Emerson? That was
Right.
a Toulon tournament. Was about 2 years ago, 2 summers ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. That was actually the last time I was out of the States. Crazy enough. But yeah, I speak, I'd say maybe 3.5 or 4 languages, I guess. So obviously English, and Spanish. I speak Portuguese as well. I wouldn't say it's quite the level of my Spanish yet, but I'm definitely always trying to improve and speak more and listen more and study more in Portuguese. And I do know a bit of Italian. I took a few classes in Italian. I wouldn't say it's as good as my Portuguese, but sto sempre cercando di migliorare. So I do want to get back into learning Italian as well, because it is a beautiful language, and as an Italian American, it does feel like it brings you back to your roots almost. So yeah, I take that how you want it.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. I know a little bit of Italian to get me by. I learnt French at school. My mum speaks really good Polish, and I wish I learned that when I was a lot younger. I know a little bit of Polish to get me by, some
Really?
a couple of swear words and just some few words. I think that's the first thing you tend to learn when you're learning languages is the swear words, isn't it? Because you want to learn to swear in different languages. I do
Yeah,
agree. I do agree with what you said about learning Italian. It's a beautiful language and it's very articulate. It was like when you're over there and you get to hear them and then hear the conversations they're having, and you see the body language and the what they're doing like that, and it's just like, oh god, I can't wait to learn it. I've been trying to learn it. Tried to learn it a little bit last year, but yeah, when you're working from home and you're doing other stuff as well, it tends to get put in the back burner. But like if you do get a spare couple of hours, probably over a weekend on that, I would try to learn more languages because it makes you a better person, I feel,
yeah,
and it makes you feel better. It's like you don't feel like you have to use translation like stuff on your phone, like, or talk and translate like apps on your phone when you're abroad. So if you try and that's what I'll try and do when the football season's over in a couple of weeks, thank God, to try to do a bit more in languages. My last and final question is someone I want to ask you is, how many games of football do you actually watch over a weekend?
every weekend or every
Oh,
week?
just in general, because you do
Yeah,
have a good spectrum of how much of like the football around the world.
yeah. I mean, so if I'd say like, uh, so it's hard to say because it's like I don't have a daily average because I will typically watch a lot more football on Saturday and Sunday right then. Um, but yeah, I think it's hard to say. I would say that I watch for weekdays. I watch 2 to 3 probably. I would say 2 to 3 games on a weekly basis, and for the weekend, yeah, I would probably say maybe 4 or 5.
That's not
Um,
too bad.
yeah, around that. It really will change, but one thing that I've actually been doing is like over the past few weeks that's sort of I don't know, maybe like help me be more organized and just also just be more at peace because I have things organized is like before every week, I will just like go over each day, um, looking at the games of each day and just like writing down my notes, like which games at each time so that I can plan it out. And like so that I know okay so like looking at the time slot what's going to be obviously sometimes I'll see a game that I meant to see but like that I had meant to see and decide to watch another game instead but like for the most part it does help me stay more on top of it um, and divide my time. So, for example, today in like 2 hours, I'm gonna watch the Aston Villa Everton game.
Hmm.
Pretty excited for that because I'm pretty sure Jack Grealish is back after
His
3 months.
injury, yeah.
So I think so. I'm not 100% sure. And then right after that, games take an right like typically 2 hours. So I think I'll have enough time. I should have enough time to finish that and then watch the DFB Pokal final between Leipzig and Dortmund. Yeah, I think it'll fit, but hopefully there won't be any intersection, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I think also, there's some other good games. I mean, Monaco, I'm going to be keeping an eye on their semifinal as well. We watch that on different screen. Um, but I'm mostly excited in the DFB Pokal final because it is a cup final, and I know that a lot of Dortmund fans like they would have literally rather lost in the semifinal to Holstein Kiel than lose today against Leipzig because I think that they're really like scared that Leipzig is I mean is trying to is going to take their place as the main challenger for Bayern So I'm really excited to see what happens in today's game. And yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. If Haaland is back, but yeah,
I don't think he is. I did see. I
because
did
he hasn't
see.
been back in like 3 weeks since I think
Yeah.
he scored that brace against, what was it, Werder Bremen, or Wolfsburg, or so yeah.
Was it
But
Wolfsburg where they won right at the end? Was it with a late goal?
yeah, it may. I'm trying to remember who. Because I think he scored a brace. He was on like a 7-game drought. Then he scored a brace, and then he got injured. But yeah, anyways, I mean, we will see what happens with that. I mean, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Just Bundesliga next season with all this managerial turmoil.
Yeah.
Another reason to follow the league.
Bayern could be fun to watch next season with Nagelsmann. I was going to say, so I can't interest you in Crotone versus Hellas Verona on a Thursday evening?
I mean, I will say that I'm a sucker for Junior Messias and
Yeah, Simi, yeah.
And Simi, 2 players. But so I think the Crotone are relegated, I believe. And so I think that both of those players are definitely going to get a move. Some players on Hellas, too, will. I think that they're saying that Federico De Marco is going to Inter.
Yeah, he's going back. Yeah,
which I think is a good signing. But yeah, I think I'm sorry, I don't know if I don't think you can interest me in a Crotone.
I don't blame you.
Monaco are, I think, playing what's it, like a third or a fourth tier side today in the Coupe de France semi. So if they manage to pull that off, that's going to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, and they'll face.
So yeah, I think I'll mainly be focusing on that and the cup final today.
Yeah. Don't blame you. If Monaco do get through, they'll face PSG, who won on penalties last night. I do agree with you on Simi and Junior Messias. Simi, he's in my team of the season so far in Serie A. I would probably see him in a top 6 or top 7 club next season. It wouldn't surprise me if Inter Milan get him as a vice backup for Lukaku. That's not a bad. Yeah. That wouldn't be a bad bit of business, but yeah, there's a couple of good players in those games. But yeah, Zach, thank you very much for joining me. I think we did say pre-recording we wanted to get this done between 45 and 50 minutes, and we're at 47 and a half minutes. If you want to plug your socials and plug your websites and your podcast, go ahead.
Yeah, you can check me out on Zach Lowy, ZACHLOWY on Twitter, as well as check out Breaking the Lines on BTLVid, BTLVID.
And your Portuguese podcast?
Oh yeah, check out. Also, make sure to listen and subscribe to the Corta Líneas podcast on Breaking the Lines. You can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, or whatever your favorite streaming service is.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Scot_Munro. You can follow the Roma podcast, which I am the host of and been the host of for the last couple of months, is at La Magicast. I think we're hopefully recording tonight. Zach, thank you very much for taking your time out on this Thursday. I would probably say, is it mid afternoon, mid morning? Sorry, early afternoon for you in the States.
Yeah, it is around that. Yeah, thank you so much. I really like coming on, and I hope to be on again soon.
Yeah, hopefully. I try to do this once a week or once every couple of weeks. I've only had you're my third guest, and this is something I wanted to do on YouTube for a couple of years, and now I've actually had the balls to do it. And thank you very much. And Zach, thank you very much. And enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy the 3 games you could potentially get to watch this afternoon with Aston Villa, Everton, and the German and the French Cup games. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Scott. It was a pleasure.